There is no trickier organizational business in team sport than transitioning from one generation of players to the next. Canada's women's soccer team got caught in that trap on Tuesday, losing 2-0 to Germany in the Olympic semi-final. With a bronze medal game remaining, this felt like the bell ringing for last orders. Everyone can have one more before they have to go home for good. That was the opportunity to go and take a gold medal home to Canada, Coach John Herdman said. And we missed that. We're sorry to Canada for missing that opportunity. At this stage of major tournaments, it is unavoidable that someone take the blame for a loss. As it ended, it was easy to spot the person who expected to get it. Defender Kaydisha Buchanan crouched miserably at midfield, her shirt pulled up over her head while teammates tried to console her. At only 20 years old, Miss Buchanan is the future of the Canadian program. On this day, she was its undoing. In the 20th minute, with the game still scoreless, she chased Germany's Alexandre Popp toward the corner of the area. The ball was running a few feet ahead of Miss Popp. There was no threat on goal. Miss Buchanan took the terrible decision to slide awkwardly through the German's legs. It was an easy penalty call, and probably should have been a red card. Once Germany took the lead, it never looked like giving it back. Miss Buchanan knows the lost opportunity will be hung around her neck, but the breakdown began much farther back. Team captain Christine Sinclair attempted a long, overly ambitious pass that gave away possession in transition. When the German counterattack began tumbling toward the Canadian goal at speed, Miss Popp was emergency call-up Ryan Wilkinson's woman to mark. The Canadian veteran couldn't catch up to the play, and so Miss Buchanan was put in the awkward position of trying to close much more ground than she'd anticipated. That's when mistakes like the one she made happen. Early in the second half, Miss Wilkinson was burned again. Once more, she lacked the pace to catch up to her marker, Sarah de Brits. The German was gifted an open shot on goal. Miss Wilkinson was still a good 5 meters behind her when she took it. The last half hour was a formality. Everyone knows the names and faces of the heroes of London 2012. There is probably no more loved team in Canada. It's not the shirt many people root for, but the individual women wearing it. It's difficult to let that go. The key protagonists were there on Tuesday: Miss Sinclair, 33 years old, Miss Wilkinson, 34, Melissa Tancredi, 34, Diana Matheson, 32. This was the moment you realized that some of them don't belong at this level anymore. Miss Sinclair was invisible throughout the match. It was in stark contrast to the 3-goal performance she put in at this same stage in London, perhaps the greatest single game by a women's player ever. The only time Miss Tancredi caught the eye was while she was unadvisedly chucking the German goalkeeper out of frustration. Miss Wilkinson was subbed out immediately after being responsible for the second goal. Miss Matheson was a positive influence, but she didn't make the starting 11. Aside from skill, the Germans bring something to the women's game that was unheard of until recently: cynicism and fakery. Every time one went down, it involved an extended series of rolls, moans and grimaces. Right up until the referee was about to signal for a stretcher. At which point, they popped to their feet. It's a reminder that the worst parts of the men's game are creeping into the women's iteration. Canada doesn't play that way. Not yet, at least. Eventually, they'll have to. The tough-minded, fair play philosophy of Canada's golden generation will have to give way to the new realities of the game. More's the pity. While the old guard was dithering around, looking more than a little lost, the kids were assuming control. One major mistake aside, Miss Buchanan was a physical force. By the end, the Germans were flinching every time they received a ball with their back to goal. They expected to be leveled. Canada's woman of the match was 18-year-old Jessie Fleming. During these 2 weeks in Brazil, she has developed into the string puller Miss Sinclair once was. She's also assuming command. At one point, Miss Fleming was running in open space toward goal. Miss Sinclair took a fraction of a second too long in sliding the ball to her. After Miss Fleming was knocked to the ground, she looked back angrily at the greatest soccer player in Canadian history and shook her hands in irritation. Right there, you saw the torch being yanked away rather than passed. The only attacker who had both the speed and guile to trouble Germany was 21-year-old Janine Beckie. Over the course of the tournament, she's been Canada's best performer. Position by position on the Canadian team, there was a clear age divide. The younger the player, the better they performed. Experience is wonderful, but at this level, speed kills. Germany knew that. Again and again, they targeted the weak, aging Lynx. Given the personnel out on the field, No amount of tactics were going to be an effective counter. Of course, it's not over yet. Canada will face Brazil in the bronze medal match on Friday. Third-place games tend to be dreary slogs by sides that no longer care after having the championship wind knocked out of them. This will be a desperate encounter. Brazil must win. It cannot be seen missing a podium at its national obsession at home games. Brazilian football hasn't been in the greatest shape lately. Being beaten at it by a bunch of jumped-up hockey players would be an insult too great to bear. Canada will feel an equal pressure, though not the same kind. This tournament has proved that the next major cycle, World Cup 2019 and the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo, is in capable hands. By then, Miss Fleming, Miss Buchanan, Miss Becky et al. Will be a collective force. So for the women who built this program into something worth inheriting, this is a last chance. A medal here will be a capstone to several great international careers. They don't have to win it. They've already done enough. But they deserve to.